We go. Hello again, aloha, Chuck.
Aloha,
Nice to see you again. Thank you for your time and being and hanging out with us again. on
well,
your
fun. It's a calling.
Yes. So your next workshop is around the corner, and
Yes.
it's next week. Actually, it's all about power. It's the restoration of power, which hopefully we're going to talk about today. And I just want to mention a little bit about the program. It's an apprenticeship, which is part of the 100-day program. And sometimes people through social media are asking about the 100-day program, and the apprenticeships are part of it. After that, we can go into the mastery program, which is a year-long program, which is starting again next year. And maybe you want to mention a little bit about it, because you developed actually not just the mastery program, but the advanced and the elite program, as there's so much stuff coming up actually through the collective.
Yes. Well, we set the 100-day program. It's kind of like a bachelor's degree in knowing yourself and healing yourself. And let's face it, you're the most important part of this world, because and as you heal yourself expands. I mean, not just your ego, but your ability to tune into your higher self, to tune into grace, to feel inspired, creative, pure love, and just that feeling, I got this, I can handle this. Or, you're called to help someone, and that feeling, I got this. Somehow you have that confidence because you're backed by grace. And there's kind of two ways of moving forward in life. You learn and grow and heal, and you do that. But the other side is just knowing that you're innocent, you're lovable, and you just receive the grace, the answers. And together it's like a right arm and a left arm moving toward higher consciousness, moving toward that feeling of bliss and heaven, no matter what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because people at that higher level realize that's me. That's showing me what I've hidden away in my mind. It's showing me what I'm afraid of. It's showing me what I've judged. Because if you judge something, you think it's going to judge you right back and attack you right back. So we have no idea of the power of this projection. The Course in Miracles describes it this way. It says, we have a mind, so we're always, it's our mind, it's our soul on the way to oneness, our spirit. So we have this mind, this soul, and we have ideas, entertaining ideas. We're entertaining ourselves with our ideas. And then to entertain ourselves, to really give a good spin, we make some fearful thoughts. Ooh, look at that. I want to keep away from that and be over here. Nice drama, But then the fear gets so big and we forget we made it, and we push it out and make the world with it. Mm-hmm. So you think that's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of things I love out there. There's people I admire, but how come you're afraid to be that? So there is fear under gifts and qualities, even though, envy, I wish I had that. Wish I was married to that man, the only good man around, and she has him, but underneath there's a fear.
Yeah.
There's a fear to have that. There's the fear to have a man, that rare man, of course, that would, live up to your expectations, which never happens. Years ago, I think it was 2000, I got a good friend of mine, a woman who was in drought in regard to relationships. I got her a t-shirt, and there on a park bench in this beautiful hat, pearls, and this beautiful dress and chic handbag, and best shoe, sitting on this park bench in his beautiful outfit, was a skeleton.
Oh, yeah.
And it said, waiting for the perfect man.
Yeah.
See, if you can get the joke about men and women, you're a master.
Mhm.
So you can laugh at the women's side, laugh at the men's side. It's all the same. It's just fun. Masters get to have this divine perspective. There's some people who are adepts in this higher consciousness. They're always laughing, or or they spend a lot of time of the day just laughing. They get the joke.
Yeah.
Maybe they're connected with Hanuman, and he's just tickling them with his tail. But as you get to higher consciousness, basically you need metaphors, because it's so hard to describe those higher states. Now, it's done in Hinduism and Buddhism and A Course in Miracles, and powerful stuff. But don't you want to be more successful?
Yes.
Don't you want to have more love in your life?
Yes.
Don't you want to be that more of your creative potential?
Yeah.
Don't you want to enjoy yourself more?
Of course.
Okay, that's waiting for you in higher consciousness. Just the next step, think of it as the next step. When I began working with people with catastrophic illness, okay, one of the things I found that was very dramatic was there was this fear of the next stage. And if they were willing to go to the next stage, because that transition is the most dangerous part. And if you look around the world, you'll see we're in a time of transition.
Mhm.
And some people are just coming to birth, and that's going to help the whole consciousness uplift. But people who are going for bigger, deeper births, or were simply that scared of it, they're going to be going through births up until the beginning of February. And it's like a new chapter in your life. Looking at things in a new way and trusting the process. This is the transition. So one of the lessons in A Course in Miracles is my holy vision sees all things as pure. Now, to see all things as pure, since it's all our mind, it's our mirror, we'd have to recognize ourselves as that pure. But the lesson starts out, my holy vision, which is I see into eternity. I see the whole. I'm divinely inspired. We are piercing very deep areas of the unconscious, our soul life patterns, our ancestral patterns. It's all really pushing forward right now. But also before the time we had bodies. So our bodies say, we're separate. You're over there in Austria. I'm over here in Hawaii. Okay, so we're really separate. Okay, so this really says this is my territory, that's your territory. And sometimes you can invite me into your territory, but then we go back to being different. So it's like, but there's a time before bodies where we recognize more of the unity, more of the collective, that we were still in the area of one spirit, though we were trying to break away from that. There's the big fall. I mean, I was really surprised in psychology when I got to a place so deep in the mind with a fellow who's fairly spiritual of the first fall.
Yeah.
Like it was that cataclysmic. And then we it's not like we go, oh, oopsie, my bad. Sorry, God, sorry, oneness. Can I be you again? Can I be one again? Can I have this bliss again? We went, no, we just invested good money after bad. And we went in the area of separation, kept separating. Now, separation makes guilt, makes the belief in sin. Separation makes pain.
Yeah.
it makes fear, because if we're separate, then you might hurt me. And so I'm afraid of you, you big, powerful woman. And we do that because we feel hurt with our parents, but it's something we're separating, we're judging, we're going, that's wrong. I want it this way.
Mhm.
And then we keep separating from our parents. We start building an individual. Okay, so there's a true person we've come to be. And then there is this ego that we're building. And the ego, it's this sense of identity or individuation, but it's not the true self. Like, we've come here to learn. We've come here to transcend, to change our mind. And a lot of times we get here, we get scared. And when we get scared, we create all kinds of chronic problems so as not to take the next step or the next chapter. And it would mean surrendering something, letting go of some attachment and something that we thought was our identity. And so you get to one of two places. You get to the true void, which is that what in the East, they're talking about divine emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
And there are stages of that divine emptiness, up until.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's it also, the West seeks it in terms of divine fullness. So it's like they're kind of opposite sides in the way of understanding something.
Mm-hmm.
One is the absence of the illusion, no thingness. And the other is the divine fullness of grace, of pure love. If you imagine you were surrounded, God's love surrounds you. God is in you. That's pure love in you. And that oneness will remain after you shed this body. Imagine my surprise in the 1970s when I'm working with someone and they went beyond this life. I'd been working with people who had traumas in the womb back in 1974 and 75. But in 76, when we went to another lifetime, I was like, they didn't prepare me for this in graduate school. Well, basically what I was learning on the front lines, not from ideas in graduate school. Like the head of my department taught a course on emotions. And I was, oh man, I need this, just learn about emotions. And I went in there and he could have summed up what he taught about emotions in 5 minutes. I was so like, what? So, you could complain, but wherever you have a complaint in your life, I know you have no complaints, Betty.
No.
But where you complain, you're being stingy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's something you're not giving. And the key thing about giving is giving yourself. So, Betty, how much are you giving your family?
I just put to my mind now with the complaint.
I caught that. I heard.
Yeah. Get out of my mind. 20.
So do you have a 20% family? Yeah, but let's try giving up to 60. Imagine just giving yourself, blessing them every day, praying for them, manifesting for them, sending them love, sending them forgiveness. Yeah.
Then they're blossoming. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you think there's a kind of a correlation between giving 20 and giving 60 and the results?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a problem in a situation, ask yourself, how much am I giving here? Now, you don't have to figure it out, but you just choose to engage yourself. You choose to give yourself, and giving is love. And what it does is it automatically, it's the only thing that isn't, the only thought that isn't dualistic in this dualistic separative world is giving and receiving are the same thing. Receiving and giving are the same thing. You know, in Hinduism, they say it, Shiva is Shakti and Shakti is Shiva. In other words, the giving, the outpouring of Shiva and the receiving, Shakti, you're the same thing. Now, if we got that totally, there could be no sacrifice. That's a good step. But there would only be love. And the world of illusions would fall away and we would have heaven. Ooh, but are you ready for that? How about the next 3 giant steps? Would you be willing for that?
Yeah.
Would you take that for the world?
Yes.
How about the next giant step that is waiting for you in your life? That is something that would help the world right now. Okay. So let me ask some more questions. Okay. You came to be the remedy of the chronic problem of your parents' relationship. What was that? What is that gift?
Peace.
So would you give that peace to them now? And imagine yourself at your birth giving them that peace. And at your conception, giving them that peace. Peace, you know, from which all good things come. Love, health, abundance.
Smooth.
So, if there's scarcity in your life, who is it you're called to love? Now, you might want to start with this. Who is it you're called to forgive?
In that case,
Yeah, go ahead.
From my family, my brother comes up.
So what do you have to forgive him for? What did he do or not do now?
Not being present.
So, how much were you present to him?
Yeah. This question was coming 20%, of course.
I see. And how present was he for you?
20, that's what.
Yeah. So if you want more from your brother, give him more. There's a sentence in A Course in Miracles that is actually so powerful psychologically. And I had to work in the subconscious and even the unconscious a couple of decades before I began to see that this was true. And then I was blown away. The great delusion is that what you think others did to you is actually what you did to them and yourself. So back then, how present were you to yourself?
20. That's what.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask for something radical. Would you be willing to choose to give 100% to yourself?
Yeah.
And would you ask the Tao, the Holy Spirit, to enable you with its power?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
See, heaven's power is always available. That's called grace. That's called love. But our ego's power at times will fail us, even if we've gotten our mind up to this really powerful shamanic or masterful state. But heaven's power never fails. And basically, the ego's power is a compensation.
Mhm.
A lot of what we look at as strength in the world is really just domination. It's winning the competition.
Yeah.
So you win, but you lose part of your heart.
Mhm.
You win, but you lose the feminine, which is the ability to receive. So you think you have to keep producing.
Okay. Mhm.
You push yourself to win, to be superior. And these are actually traps, because there's levels of partnership and unity which saves so much time. And it multiplies the power of the difference. Like it's said in a number of spiritual texts, including the Bible and A Course in Miracles, where two minds agree on one thing, that thing becomes a reality. So why don't we all just get our minds together? Well, look at the world. Look at the war zones. Look at the coups going on. Look at the terrorists. Look at the fat cats, the fat corporate cats, the greedy suckers. That's all us. It's stuff that we've judged about ourselves and threw away. So how can we feel grateful to them? We can feel grateful to them because they're showing us pieces we would never look at. That's called our shadow side, our shadow figure. Now, it's not reality. Just like this world is a dream. Back in the 70s, when I worked as a psychologist doing drug rehab for the Navy and Marines, basically I became fascinated by dreams. So I studied up on different forms of dreams. And then I realized, oh, this is a waking dream. And the same things, the methods that work in terms of, healing, the dreams we have at night could be used to heal this dream. A dramatic thing reminds me of someone who was coming to me for counseling in Southern California in 1983, where I had a private practice as a marriage, family, child counselor. And just as he worked in Century City in LA, the big buildings in LA, and he walked out, and just like 5 minutes before, there'd been a suicide. Somebody had jumped from the top of the building. And he was shocked. They were just covering her over as he came out. So he had an hour drive to get to my office in Orange. And he came in and he was just, he was white, shocked white. I think that's a color, shocked white. But, and we sat down, he told me what had happened. And I said, imagine this is all a dream. And all of these pieces are parts of you. I said, first of all, just on this interpersonal level, who's the suicide? Because my sister, when I was 16, I had a fight with her, and I said, you're dead to me. And I never talked to her again. Because he was so shocked, but he began to forgive himself and forgive the fight and understand what's going on, and at deeper levels. And back then, well, he got a private detective, because that was the day before. He got a private detective to find where his sister was, and he made contact, and they reunited, they reconciled.
Wow.
But basically, that's why we're here, to reconcile the whole world. Course in Miracles calls that our purpose: forgive the world. So, Betty, obviously, if you came to bring that to your parents, you have that gift for everybody, but you're only given 20% of it.
Yeah.
Want to make another choice
Yeah.
and empower it with, heaven's power, the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
the Tao. And now to time is an illusion. So send it backwards in time. Time is really simultaneous.
Mhm.
So think of it this way. You have the mistaken belief that what you made, what we all made, we made time. And we made the world. And we made the ego. We made them. And now we think they have power over us. How much have we been under time's gun? Hmm. Hmm. Back when I was in university and I had all these things I had to complete, especially my dissertation and parts of the dissertation. And I could see that I had this style of working hard, but then realizing like there's a mountain to climb and I have 2 weeks to climb it. And so then there was a lot of sleepless nights and it would always be miraculous. And the project would get done. The paper would get done, the 40-page paper, getting me ready for my 240-page dissertation. And many sleepless nights, and it was miraculous. And now I see my son has the same problem.
Oh, no. Sleepless nights as well.
Sleepless nights, impossible mountains to climb, and get it there in the last minute. Sorry, son. So, and that's something I probably picked up. But whatever it is, it's my responsibility. I see it. So, but we don't have to be run by time. We're all doing time. The slang term for being in prison, we're doing time. Because there's a part of us that's in eternity. There is a part of us. And the closer we get to that part, we like in Taoism, there's the immortality where you live forever and where you can skip back to other time zones. You can go to other times and places because you have that power. You're a dawn treader. You're a Skywalker. So interesting. But it's learning where we have that power. We've been afraid of that power. And every fall, every mistake we made is in our mind. So when we're getting ready to go to a new level, a new chapter in our lives, a lot of times the guilt or the fear or that, and it'll come out as a symptom, like illnesses or injuries. I knew one fellow who, back when I worked with the Navy, and he talked about how in high school he was a track star. And the day before that, he went to the state championships, and he was basically, they thought he was the favorite, he would win. But what happened was he had a bike accident.
Oh.
He totaled his bike, and so he couldn't run. But he recognized later, 20 years later, that it was just his fear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. How many people are afraid to have their equal partner? Let me have somebody that I'm better than, that I can dominate, that I can control. But they're afraid to have someone that would make their heart beat like that. They don't want to lose control because they've already been wounded. And they have a pattern of dissociation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have dissociation, you lose awareness. You have some blindness. Like because you're dissociated when you banged your toe, you're dissociated when you step on somebody else's toes.
Yeah.
So it's getting over that defense because that's heavy, and it leads to burnout, and you lose your heart. Burnout is an ego attempt to have you become more burnout, to have you become more independent. And it's a never-ending cycle. It just keeps going. Because you have less of your heart, which you have less of your real energy to give forth, to give that 100%. But Betty, how much are you giving now?
80 and 800 came on.
Okay. So when did you lose the biggest part of yourself in this life?
At one,
At one. And who is it with?
my brother.
And what's happening with you and your brother?
That he was the boy and I was the girl. Same old story.
How many how much in this lifetime have you been the boy when you have the girl plumbing?
800%.
800%. Okay. So let's go where you've gone and let's go back to one. And just because you have this equipment doesn't mean you can't have that energy. Can you give 100%? That's Shiva, right? By the way. Or it's the Christ, which is gives to everyone because it is everyone. So can you give to your brother? Can you just go, I'm not going to put you at 20%.
Very powerful, makes him powerful.
And as you do that, how does your masculine and feminine feel?
My feminine becomes very powerful as well. It kind of becomes balanced, actually.
Right. When you give 100%, you win part of yourself back. It's like when you commit and like going to work every day. I'm going to work every day. But what if you commit yourself 100%? You become your best self. It's like the creative field opens. It's like vision happens. You're living your purpose. You've just joined masculine and feminine. You've just joined giving and receiving. And you win yourself back. And it invites more grace. That's why every time you give yourself 100%, in Shivism, they say you invite the goddess. And so creativity has that power, has that beauty to stun you open. Your mind becomes quiet in the face of beauty. If you're not trying to use it for something, you just receive it. So it's like, look at the world. It's like we just had, we know this trouble was going on, Israel and Hamas.
Exactly.
How much did you get angry at that, Betty?
Angry 100%, yeah.
And what was the thing you were angry at?
It was like, again, I have friends on both sides, actually. Yeah, it's just a repetition. It's this again. Can't it just be enough?
So all anger at some level, either the subconscious or the unconscious, and the subconscious, again, everything in this life, and unconscious expands that to other lives, other issues, ancestral, all kinds of otherworldly stuff. So what were you angry at yourself about?
Again, the same. Saying that's just repetition of fighting.
Yeah, well, you're going, why can't it just be enough? That was the question. How about if this is enough? Could you forgive yourself? You know, it's just a mistake. And, you know, it was just hour, you know, it was, but, and that's why, you know, all forgiveness, like to forgive that war, you know, we're both sides. How many times have you sabotaged yourself in your life?
Uncountable. 100% comes up.
Yeah. So that's what we call the terrorists.
Yeah.
It's that place of self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives us an excuse to be more independent, doesn't it? If we get somebody embodies that sabotage or that attack, all attack, whether it's given or received, all attack is self-attack.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I found, you know, waltzing around in the subconscious. And that gives people power.
Mm-hmm.
To take responsibility gives people power. And because it's the opposite of guilt, people don't want to take responsibility because they think they'll feel guilty. No, that's your ego.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your higher mind says, you have the power, you can handle this. Let me help. So I want to try something really interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I've done this a couple of times, a few times with clients. All right. It's very powerful. And it comes from Hinduism, you know, Shiva, kind of followers of Shiva. Anyhow, Betty, what is your biggest problem or fear?
It's about my brother.
Okay. And, you know, everything from total disaster to, you know, just minor trouble. Okay. So there's a lot of ways to deal with this. Like we can go to your past lives and things like that. And we may, but I want to go to a place either in your past lives or before that, when you were in a higher form of consciousness. Is it a past life or is it before?
Before.
Okay. So here's a place where you were closer to oneness. Your consciousness was higher. You weren't embodied yet. But can you see that place? Can you feel that place? Invite that consciousness, that being, to come into you right now. Because it's your same being. There were just how many falls between that self and this one?
500,000.
Only 500,000 falls. Okay, piece of cookie, as my promoter in Nagasaki used to say, piece of cookie. You know. So, you know, because they're all illusions. So you can bring that higher self. Now, it's not your higher self, which is in oneness, which is a part of God's mind, which is a fragment of God himself, but not separate. Anyhow, back here, bring this higher consciousness, this higher awareness, this greater power. Bring it into you now. How much more whole is your vision from this being? Just
100%.
as that lesson from A Course in Miracles says, my holy vision sees all things as pure. Because notice how pure you were back there, considered to how pure you feel now.
It feels
I
like
mean,
my body is exploding.
yeah, because between that and here, we feel like a dirty girl. But I like dirty girls. It's okay. You're fine. So, but bring that higher being in and feel the juice. Feel that much saftig. Feel that much beauty. Feel that much wonder. And look at your brother.
Same.
Share this with your brother so it multiplies. Yeah. And now, how's that?
It's the same. It feels the same. It looks like the same.
Now look at Israel Hamas.
Same. It's the same.
What does it look like Ukraine and Russia?
Same. Okay.
What's it look like with the coup in Niger? And the hungry, starving people of Africa. How's it look?
All the same energy.
Yeah. When you're at what you see, what you perceive is what you experience about yourself, your beliefs about yourself. And here, so many of the beliefs have been wiped away. Now, notice those 500,000 falls between then and now.
Mhm.
Okay, so Betty, right now, do you feel like you're on heaven's track?
Yeah. Very divine. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And imagine going forward in your life on this track.
Wow. Yeah.
How much love could you give the world?
That's overwhelming.
Now, time being the illusion it is, and heaven's track going in all directions, you could take heaven's track back through the 500 falls and bring your higher self as she is visited upon you, and take her and you in union back to your higher self back there through all the falls, and see what happens to those falls. Because they're ego falls. There's where we made choices for separation and the ego, and to be right, to hide our guilt, and to judge, and to control. And none of it made us happy. And we who were in oneness, our mind came down to just little thing that can fit in this little box of body.
It just falls away.
So who are you, Bettina?
Yes. Wow. It's just it's this energy.
And can you see what was leading up to this point was just that kind of transition, whatever your ego could throw at you to distract you from this new chapter, this birth.
Wow.
How much more powerful do you feel?
Uncountable. Just not pronounced.
How much is the balance now between your masculine and feminine? I mean, the more we're in our dissociated masculine, our independent side, we can't receive. So we keep doing and doing, and we use up our youth to get the job done, or whatever we're throwing under the bus. But that's not necessary. Giving, receiving, receiving, giving. And what you can is give yourself 100% to everything, to your partner, to your parents, to your brother, to your father. to your friends, to your work, anything you give yourself 100% to leads you closer to truth. And truth, it contains all sides. So it's not just Hamas and Palestine and Israel. There's just one truth. So when you invite truth into a situation, you invite partnership. And as you bring truth into your eyes, it helps the whole world. So your confidence and power are the same thing. So it's to regain your confidence and so to regain your split mind. Betty, who's the biggest person you're fighting with in this life? You're such a good sport to, just be willing to go for it and get benefit.
My dad.
Your dad. And what are you fighting him about? I mean, there's a war going on.
Yeah, for not being such a good dad, or the dad I wanted to.
Not being the dad you wanted. Were you the daughter he wanted?
I guess no. I don't know, but for sure not.
Okay.
I don't know what daughter he wanted actually.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Whatever it was, I'm not going there. Whatever you want, Dad, forget it. And the other part is trying to live up to your parents' expectations. That's the opposite trap. And typically, if you're going, no way, you tried to live up to their expectation and it didn't work. Now, people, their whole life, they're trying to win approval from their parents or from their father or from their mother. The thing is, it's like there's a hidden thing in the subconscious. And I've done this many times. And it's like, imagine your parents stay the same and you look at them like they're the most terrible parents in the world. You just as an experiment. We're going to have you go through a number of stages, but imagine they were the most terrible parents.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your life?
Burned out. I would burn out.
How do you feel about them?
They would die painfully.
And how do you feel about yourself?
How would I feel about?
Yeah, how do you feel about yourself when you had those bad parents and had this bad experience as a child?
Painful life as well.
Okay, now let's change perspective and let's go up to another one where you actually look at them and feel sorry for them. They're the sorry parents. They don't understand what it is to raise a daughter, have a happy family, have a happy couple. They don't get it. I feel sorry for them. I pity them. So when you pity them, how do you feel in general?
Above them.
Superior.
Yeah.
But if you weren't feeling, see, that's a defense over a certain feeling, which is what feeling?
Join them.
Yeah, but that's not a feeling. That's it's like if you're superior, what are you hiding?
I'm not good enough.
Yeah. And a lot of people, when they pity someone, they pity themselves. You've never felt sorry for yourself, have you, Betty?
Yes. Uncountable times.
How much that's still going on. And then the third one. Oh, man. Boy, if I had to live my parents' childhood, they came through, they were so courageous to have accomplished what they did and give me the life I had. They're the best parents. They're my perfect parents. And when you look at them like that, how do you feel about life?
Yeah, it feels very true. It feels powerful and true.
And how do you feel about yourself?
powerful as well, full of life.
Yeah, right. Now, when you were growing up, did you look at your parents like number, first way, the second way, or the third way?
First and the second.
First and second. Guess what? You can choose again. How do you want to look at your parents now?
That's right way, yeah, of course.
The third way. So when you look at them, how do you feel about your life?
Amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah.
And how about yourself?
Beloved.
Uh-huh. It's not how your parents looked at you or what they seemed to demand of you. It's how you looked at them. They gave you your experience.
Yeah.
It's what you do that gives you your experience. And that happens in all kinds of things. It happens in heartbreaks. It happens in feelings of loss and abandonment. It's how we're taking the event that gives us our experience. The Hindus call it rasa, or rasa. And so we could heal this. Now, the other way to do it is just to feel the pain all the way through, to rotten child, and you burn it all the way through and you get your heart back. And that's one way to do it. That's the path of Tantra. But then if you're going to go to the path of Tantra, you better pay the price and feel every bite of food you take and enjoy it. All the sex, and enjoy it and offer it to the goddess. So I think, to correct things, and also that other path of total enjoyment. And the negative stuff, like, what's the worst feeling of your life, Betty?
Yeah, right now comes up not being a good daughter.
So guilt.
Guilt.
And how big is that tunnel of guilt?
5,000 kilometers.
So how long would it take you to fly through that tunnel of guilt?
5,000 years. Whew.
Dang, that's going to be a lot more lifetimes. But now let's imagine you had a friend in high place. Who's one of your friends in high places?
Michael.
Whoa. So let Michael take your hand and feel all the guilt, but go through it at Michael's speed.
Rocket velocity.
Yeah. And then offer what's on the other side. What's it feel like on the other side?
Peace again.
Yeah. So offer that passage, because every negative feeling, which is an emotion, every emotion is a passage. It's a transition into a birth. And you could go fast or slow. I mean, some people spend lifetimes in a certain emotion, but you could offer up that passage of guilt, being a bad daughter. See, Michael knows it's an illusion. I mean, he carries the sword of truth. And then you get to the other side and offer that to heaven. The peace, because whatever you offer to heaven, heaven multiplies it. So you have more of it. You have more peace. Okay. Now, I want to ask another question that may be completely different than these. You came to make a certain contribution to the world, Betty. What was the contribution you as a being came to contribute to this world, to uplift it?
Femininity.
Ooh, femininity. So can you see that the ego does everything in its power to blind you that you're meant to bring femininity?
Yeah.
So how much have you given of your femininity?
100%.
You've given 100% of your femininity.
No, given up. No, given.
Up. Okay, got it. So how much did you give in this 1%? Okay. Betty, whatever that gift that you came to give, like I came to give transformation. Okay. So Betty, would you give 10 more percent to your gift? How does that feel?
Blossoming comes up then, yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's the receiving, it's self-love.
Yeah.
It's beauty. It's comfort and tenderness. It's sweetness.
I can feel it. Yeah.
So could you give 20 more percent?
Yeah.
Mm.
Smell of flowers comes.
Yeah. Just waiting for those bees. And honey is the result. See, the thing when you get up to giving yourself, your femininity 100%, how much you want to give now?
80%.
Yeah. Okay. Feel that.
Wow.
When you give anything 100%, what happens is by your giving it, first of all, the illusions start falling away and you see a way through.
It's touching, very touching.
And you give 100% of like your gift of the feminine, and you receive the nectar of the gods. Like that's a metaphor of that level of such sweet consciousness, but it gives life. It gives life. So how much of your femininity are you willing to give Israel and Palestine and Hamas?
All of it.
And then this ancient wound, this ancient collective wound that so many layers begins to heal over because you're giving the purest form of yourself for this life. And your beauty just shines out. And it redeems. Because when you give 100%, you connect to what's whole, to what's holy. And the more you are in that consciousness of giving it all, the finer your energy becomes.
Mm-hmm.
So then you notice when you get to a dead spot, like you'll notice it most in your relationship. Like you have a dead spot with your partner. All of a sudden, like you can't feel your love for him. That's an old place you got wounded and put yourself in a prison to protect yourself, of course. And so you could feel the prison, you could feel the dissociation. That's another way to do it, but with the intention of joining your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when was the last time you felt that kind of dissociation with anyone?
20 years ago comes up.
Okay. Do you see the person you were with when it was just complete dissociation?
Yeah, it's my brother again. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now imagine giving 100% of your femininity
brings it to life.
Mhm. And how much of your heart just came back?
80%.
So don't shy away from places where you dissociation, even when you seem to be in, that's all there is dead zone. Because that's a stage of growth that we go through. Now it's better than fighting all the time. At least we all thought so. But there's much higher places, and there's many ways to get through it. But one of them is just giving yourself fully. And you want a good life, no matter what's happening, you give yourself fully to everything. And things will come up because we have so many things buried inside us, in the subconscious, from this life, in the unconscious. And gravity pulls things to the earth. But if you're a farmer, also, if you're plowing a field, if you come back next year and replow the same field, there may be new rocks because gravity pushes rocks to the surface. And it's the same way in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not dealing with stuff when war appears, and it's an opportunity to heal things at a subconscious, where there was this war in this life, and the unconscious, that may have happened many lifetimes. So where was that Hamas war in this life for you? How old were you?
3.
And who was the war? Mom and dad, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah. So now at 3, go back there as you are now and give your 3-year-old your full femininity. Just lavish her with this beauty.
It's like crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now together, you and her join together and give that full femininity to your parents.
Start loving each other instead of fighting.
Mhm. And now imagine you had that power when, and from 3 years old on, you went heaven's path. I'm going to give femininity.
Changes everything. Yeah.
Changes everything. People were going, who is that stunning 3-year-old? Just because that's the gift of the feminine, is beauty. One of them. Self-love is another.
Mhm.
Innocence is another. So the ego didn't want you to be innocent, didn't want you to be a girl, try to get you locked in your masculine side. And how much grace can you receive now?
100%. That was intense.
Do you feel yourself in that new chapter?
Wow. Thank you, Chuck.
So welcome. You're the gift. In A Course in Miracles, it says you're the miracle. No, you're the miracle. No, you're the miracle.
Wow, thank you. This was really very intense, very powerful. And I hope some
I
people
mean, like power, like confidence. Okay, great.
could join or can watch this and join for this power.
Yeah. Joining is power, it's innocence. So, and as we join with someone out there, our mind joins at the same time, because we have so many fragments and they're all saying, go this way, no, that way, this way. And as we unify, there's peace and abundance and love. and friendship. And we realize we're all the same. And as Buckminster Fuller says, we're all on the same spaceship. We're on the spaceship Earth. But it's also important to know one last thing that in a lot of the spiritual literature, it talks about how all beings want to come to this plane, because the ability of joining, the ability of loving, the ability of forgiveness brings a nectar and has transformational aspects, but it's that nectar of the divine that these beings want. And, let's take advantage of that opportunity, because whenever you need help, dial heaven, call for grace. And sometimes you're in a spot of emotion, you're called to zoom through it, whether it's depression or loss or fear or guilt or shame, all of those things, you zoom through it. And you get to the other side and there's more you're more whole. You get a piece of your heart back and a piece of your mind. Your mind is expanding into that state of higher awareness, higher consciousness, until you get to oneness. And then you look back at this stream and go, what was that?
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And thank you for the gift of you.
And more of you next week in the apprenticeship, the restoration of power. So powerful. 10 days. Wow.
Yeah. And people from Asia, from Japan and China and Europe. So it's going to be.
This is the coolest thing, actually, really, that everybody's joining from all over the world. Very powerful healing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha.
Ciao bella, ciao bello.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.